Prashant Thakur, Regional Director and Head Research at ANAROCK, is now joining us. Prashant, you understand the real estate space very closely, and it appears that the lower end of the K-shaped economy, which was kind of getting a bit sidelined, and it required help ever since did not rebound from the COVID lows the same way as the affluent India did. And so we saw it in low volumes in affordable. We saw it in low volumes by consumer companies. Government seem to be now addressing that end by more number of housing, and housing will have impact on, of course, jobs and cement, all of that. Which ticket of the tier 2, tier 3 housing or the rural housing do you see highest demand in your observation?
First of all, we need to understand why the affordable was lagging, while the other segment of the residential real estate really picked up. We almost saw 2x jump in luxury segment. See, we need to understand that the buyers of affordable housing comes from unorganized sector, people who are working in SMEs and MMSEs, or they have their own small business. And if you look at all the economic indicators across the economy and also in other industries, kept on pointing towards that distress in the lower strata, and that was reflected in the election results as well. And now with this government back in power, I think not only affordable focus is back, but I think there is a renewed focus on employment creation, job creation in smaller cities and rural areas. So I strongly believe that this effect of affordable housing, the announcement that was made of additional 3 crores, would be reflected more in smaller tier 2 and tier 3 cities rather than the metros. So, I would see, smaller cities like Mathura, peripheries of Lucknow, Ayodhya, all these smaller cities where you would see, a lot of unorganized working population there would see a spurt in demand. And having said that, it will also have spillover effect in some other part of bigger cities also, because I strongly believe that without the participation of private developers, this entire scheme of housing for all cannot be achieved. So there were a couple of demands from the developer side also, especially who operates in tier 1 cities, because need for affordable housing is also felt in the tier 1 cities as well. But the developers are not able to launch affordable housing because of certain restriction. Now the definition of affordable needs to be increased. There were certain incentives that have been rolled back. So these are the demands which were unmet, and I strongly believe that with this government coming back in power, the focus will be there, and we'll see an overall spurt in affordable housing which was lagging significantly.
In fact, the erstwhile housing minister, that's Hardeep Singh Puri, is talking about his new ministry, or the ministry that he's continuing with right now. That's the old ministry where he's taken charge today. So there he is interacting with the media partners as well as his members of the office as to discussing what the next 5 years will hold. So that's the latest coming in. In fact, that's the next question that I had for you, Mr. Thakur, that of course it was earlier Mr. H.S. Puri who was heading the housing and urban development kind of ministry. Now it's gone to Manohar Lal Khattar. What changes are you expecting per se in the direction from the government, or is it more likely going to be the same?
I think, it will be the same, because all those guidelines were very clearly laid down, and it has been in focus for quite long time. And there is no policy level changes. It is, just more focus and then, more execution needs to be done. And we cannot say, that this scheme ever lagged in terms of execution. I think this is one of the best executed program of the government. So in my opinion, with Manohar Lal Khattar coming in, this is my personal opinion, he kind of understands the rural background much better, comes from Haryana. He might, bring in that renewed focus, but I don't see any major change. It was a well-laid program, well on track, and I think with every eyes, it's not only the government is kind of quite serious, but even the sector, the private developer sector are also kind of very hopeful. They are eager to take up affordable housing projects. They just need some kind of policy intervention, which I think will come through as we progress in the year.
I want to understand from you, Prashant. One of the reasons we understand that most of the listed players kind of shun the really affordable side is because of lower margins. So is it worth the while? You tell us, do you think that industry would require some kind of policy impetus, maybe this budget or something else, or What will it take for these players to, everybody enjoys fat margins in the 3 crore, 4 crore, 2 crore kind of a budget ticket house where volume is good, by the way. But what will it take? It's like a chicken and the egg situation. Who starts first?
Yeah. So, when it comes to affordable housing, it is just like an FMCG product. You launch the product and you kind of sell it as quickly as possible. Then only you are able to make the required margin. But what happens is that the approval of the project itself takes a lot of time. Then the land, which is in almost 80-85% of the cost of the entire construction, is not cheaply available. And there was some kind of policy intervention in terms of earlier the developers were allowed 100% tax exempt from the profits of affordable housing. That was withdrawn. Then to boost the demand side, there was credit linked subsidy scheme that was given to the buyers. These things were withdrawn. So in my opinion, couple of policy intervention first for the private developers to participate would be to increase the definition of affordable housing. Right now it is 45 lakhs, which I think is not viable for a city like Mumbai or let's say some other tier 1 cities. Second would be a single clearance window for dedicated for affordable housing projects, so that the approvals come in fast and the construction starts quickly. And to boost the demand, in my opinion, the credit linked subsidy scheme should be reintroduced so that the buyers who come from unorganized sector have some kind of financial cushion in terms of buying it. So these are a few policy intervention which we have been recommending. Hopefully, with some kind of seriousness that I would say deep focus that the government has shown towards affordable housing, these policy interventions will come through.
Okay, Mr. Thakur, on that note, we'll let you go. Thanks so much for joining us today.
If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to ET Now.